Paul McGuire Grimes, ABC, Minneapolis. James, it is really great talking to you. You nailed it with this film. It is so well done. So congratulations and thank you for the time today.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. Now, your love of comics is all over your work, and it's so evident. But take me back to when you were a kid. Why did those comic books and those heroes, what did they mean to you at the time?
I mean, I always had a big imagination, so I was always really into stuff that was like fantastical. But comic books are what I learned to read on, and comic books are my first love. I love movies. I love music. But the first thing I fell in love with when I was little was comics, and especially, frankly, DC Comics. And so when I first opened a comic book, of course, it wasn't like, usually when you see a movie with Superman, it's you see him coming to Earth, you see his origin story, you see him and then a bunch of people. But when I read comics, I entered a world where Superman had all these superhuman friends and, they're giant robots and monsters and all this crazy flying dogs. And I really wanted to recreate that in the theater, that same experience I had as a kid for everyone.
Yeah, it's evident. I remember being a kid and watching the old Adam West Batman, and that was my introduction to superheroes. And it was iconic.
Yeah.
You have a knack for casting, and this cast is so perfect. So how did you know that David Cornsweet was going to be your Clark Kent Superman?
Well, I mean, strangely, so I saw my friend Ty West's movie Pearl, which is a fantastic movie.
So good.
And David Cornsweet plays the projectionist in that, and I was like, wow. It was right. We were about to start casting, and I was like, "That guy could be potentially be Superman." And so I wrote a note to John Papsadera, casting director, saying, "Make sure we see a tape from this Cornsweet guy." I don't even think I knew his name at that time. And so he came in. He was actually the second person that I saw audition for Superman. And it was funny because I was so scared about finding Superman, and immediately we found somebody who had the dramatic chops, the comedic chops, could do all the fast dialogue, and was also incredibly athletic, which is helpful. So, so I was really fortunate to have David come along.
He nails all the different dynamics of it. It's not I like how vulnerable he brings to Clark and Superman. It's really great. Now, I love the kind of homage and the respect that you have for Richard Donner's Christopher Reeve, that original film. Why was it so important for you to bring that to this film, especially the John Williams motifs are here again? And what do you love about a John Williams score?
Well, for me, really, when I was a kid, I saw, the Superman movie in theaters the first weekend it came out. I loved the movie. But what I really loved the most was John's score. And I fell in love with musical scores because of that. That led me into becoming a big fan of, Ennio Morricone and Lalo Schifrin and all these other great film composers. And so that score is what made me go, God, music is as important to a movie as the visual is itself. So doing Superman, there was no way that I could leave that out of being a part of it.
Right. No, it's really good. How do you feel like someone watching this film can channel their inner Superman in everyday life?
Well, I would hope that we would be able to. I think that you see this movie and everybody goes to the movie. You want to be Superman. He's strong, he can fly, he can do all this stuff. But you realize that Superman really wants to be us. He wants to be human. He wants to have that connection that we're all able to have, to know people love him and that he loves people. And so I really think it's just as simple as accepting our humanity to be like Superman.
Ooh, that's deep. Now I'm now thinking about my own humanity and what that means. Okay. So throughout the film, I was thinking about how topical it seems, especially right now. But you wrote this, I'm assuming, a couple of years ago, shooting it, the strikes. Is it weird to feel like art imitating life imitating art, or how do you feel about that connection?
It feels horrible. I mean, life is a little bit more like this movie than it was a couple years ago, unfortunately, and I wish it wasn't. But I think that that's the reason that Superman is even more necessary today. Can be seen as old-fashioned or Pollyanna, but he's a good soul, and I think that because of that, he's really about the most rebellious person you can possibly be, because he's going against the grain of all the meanness in the world today.
Ooh, I love that. Is there a scene that you are hoping, if you go and sit in the audience in the back of this theater to see what their reaction is like, that you cannot wait for them to see for the first time?
Oh, it really is so many scenes, whether it's the fight in the baseball stadium or the 10-minute, interview scene between, Lois and Clark. They're all things that I love so much. So I don't know if there's any one thing in particular. It's going to be fun. I've seen the movie a lot with audiences, but all in test screenings and all with I show like director friends of mine, like Jason Reitman and Drew Goddard, and get their input on the film. But to be able to go see the movie with an audience at the premiere for the first real time is as exciting to me as it is everybody else.
I know they're gonna love it. Like, I really do. Can you tease anything with Peacemaker season 2?
Sure. I mean, Peacemaker is, well, first of all, we're going to see quite a few characters from Superman in Peacemaker. We're going to see, as people know, I think Hawkgirl and Guy Gardner in the very first episode. But I think it's going to deal with the two different sides of Christopher Smith Peacemaker. It's dealing with Christopher Smith on a human level, as well as him in a costume, and it's going to have a little bit of romance in there as well.
I love it. James, I'm getting the wrap. Thank you for the time, and I hope people love it as much as I do.